So I hope everybody is having a wonderful day, whatever time it is. Thank you, Chris. Apparently, my hair is I just threw some water in it, you know? Well, some water and some emu oil. Well, I'll emu myself another time. So databases, let's get to something useful here on the screen. That is, of course, Webdev courses.tv, the website where you can always see the schedule anytime you like. Let's talk about SQL. Let's start with, well, let's just say various types. Because SQL is the language. It's sort of a specification, but it's very different. This is going to show me something else. It's very different depending on the flavor. I guess I'll do various flavors. You have T-SQL. T-SQL is Microsoft SQL. It's Transact SQL. You've got PL SQL, which is Postgres SQL. It's a standard. You've got MySQL, which works very similar to Postgres SQL and the PL SQL standard, but it does have its own language as well. So let's see, what are they naming here? Relational databases, yep, because that's what SQL is for. It's for relational databases. MySQL, they mentioned Postgres. Oracle's really big in a lot of B2B stuff. Oracle's a very, very good database. If you need super scale, it's really good. However, it's not open source, and a lot of companies want it open source. SQL Server for Microsoft is also not open source, but they're all SQL. I don't even have Postgres installed on this machine at the moment. So why don't we start there? How would you install? I'm on Windows, right? But the process is not going to be that much different for you if you're on a Mac or if you're on Linux, because I use the Windows subsystem anyway. So let's see, what can I use here that won't leak anything or show things that I'm not supposed to show about my servers? We can start here. So I'm on my Linux subsystem for Windows, and essentially where I would start is what's available for me for Postgres. Now I know that I have access to, or at least I will have access to if I have access to the proper package, something called Postgres SQL Community. I believe that's what it's called. I might have to look up the exact command. Oh, and I have to do it. So maybe it's community 5. Nope. All right. So time to search. So Linux, I'm on Ubuntu. So we'll use Ubuntu, which uses apt, which is used for a lot of distributions. And we want to install Postgres SQL Community Edition. So let's see, Postgres client. Is it really just Postgres client? That's going to give us our Postgres community version. I guess so. Okay. So it looks like we're going to need Postgres SQL contrib, which is going to give us some extra stuff that they're using, and probably some libraries would be my guess. Do we need any of that stuff? No, not really. pgadmin is pretty useful. So we're going to add pgadmin. Actually, pgadmin won't be there unless we update our cache. Let's do that now. Still says there's no thing. We can get away without it for now anyway. Okay, so how do you get into Postgres? Nothing's running right now. Sudo system ctl sudo system ctl start Postgres. System has been booted with systemd as an init. Host is down. Can we restart it? Host is down. Okay, fine. Exit out of our subsystem, go back in. See if we get the same thing. If we do, it means that I'm scheduled for a reboot and can't really reboot right now because I'm streaming. I don't remember what I chose. Probably that. No? Really? How is this possible? Did that one? Okay, it's that one. Sudo system restart networking. System CTL. I really don't want to reboot. I shouldn't have to reboot my Linux subsystem. Well, I guess let's find out. Shut down -R now. Okay, so no, I can't reboot my Linux subsystem. Let's find out what's going on with it. Enable start your Ubuntu. Yeah, we did that. We've done this. I guess what it's saying is that the Windows subsystem for Linux isn't mounted, but it's clearly mounted because it's right here. I don't think that's the one. Oh yeah, let's check out, see which init system I'm using. Okay. So what we need to do, what is actually restarted? See, it should be service name. System CTL status. I can't even do a status. This might be because I have another terminal open to the same thing. Exit off of the server. Exit out of Windows subsystem for Linux. Come back in. Same thing. We can't do a shutdown -R because it's not really Linux. It's pretending to be Linux. Okay, so I can't, Windows subsystem for Linux. I have to get my init system back up apparently. Windows subsystem for Linux 2, I think is what I'm running. Restart init system. I don't think it's because I'm using Docker. I'm not using Docker. I doubt that'll work. And that'll work if you're not using Windows subsystem for Linux, maybe. No, that's not going to work. No good answers. No good answers. What about this one? Let's see. We got, well, this is saying, wait, what do you mean right now we don't have system D? We do have system D because I use it every day. Oh, wait a minute. Am I getting my DigitalOcean server and my local server confused? I wonder if I'm... It's not system CTL. It's system CTL on my actual server, not here. Okay, so I'm going to Control R and I'm going to go back to my Postgres command, and now I'm in Postgres. Okay, I'm not going to go through a bunch of Postgres right now because it's fairly cryptic. Instead, what we need to do is we need to, what's a tool I can use? Well, honestly, I'm not trying to teach you SQL right here. Let me just walk you through like how this stuff works. So right now, this command that I ran, I'm sudoing in as the Postgres user. I'm doing this -u. It's going to load the user configs. I'm connected to the Postgres database. Well, I'm calling Postgres SQL, pSQL, and then I'm connecting to the Postgres database. Once I'm inside of here, I have to create a database, right? So let's see. We don't have a database yet. Do they have the create command here? Yeah, so we can just create with the new database. Well, let's do that. Let's just do create by doing, what should we call this? Let's just call this my first SQL. MySQL does not exist because we have to create it. So let's create it first. So sudo -u Postgres. Again, we're running this as the Postgres user, and we're just going to call this create DB my first SQL. Okay, so access denied. Could not change to. Go to the root. Okay, permission denied. So this is probably because the Postgres server has not had its database file set. Let's see. Where's the one that allows me to set my database file? Also, why couldn't I get pgadmin 3 on? Let's do Windows install pgadmin. I think I can go from Windows to my subsystem for Linux, and then it'll probably just look a lot less scary. It's still the same thing. I don't want to run that. So I can't create DB, permission denied. So Windows subsystem for Linux 2, Postgres SQL, permission denied, create database. It's trying to, it doesn't know where it's supposed to put the data volume. So let's see, we have, what's the command that I use to set the data? I've never actually run this on Windows. Let's see. Yeah. Oh. Okay, there's our Postgres file. Okay, so our Postgres file should tell us how to listen, a bunch of other stuff. Should also give us access to our well, let's look at our table definition. So \DT, actually it's probably D because we don't have any. And we're doing Postgres. No relation for Postgres. Back to this window, please. Did they ever add the ability to create a database here? I guess not, because once you're here, you're already connected. We still need to create our own database. So we can't create our own I don't want to create anything in there. That's Postgres' database. Like, we're not supposed to be touching that. So we do need to figure out why this command fails. Well, that fails because I didn't give it one. But this command to create a DB should not fail. We're doing sudo. Could not change directory home mark. Permission denied. Postgres is running under, well, the Postgres user. So I need to change home mark, I think, to different permissions. Let's see. pSQL, what permission? Well, Postgres SQL, what permission? What permissions Unix file. Nope, it's not a socket error. No, it's not a socket error. Shoot. I thought I was going to be able to run Postgres this fast, but apparently it's like everything else. As soon as you try to do it live, it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to dig around. It's going to take a while. It's not something I'm going to be able to do on stream. MongoDB is already installed, and this is much easier. So I guess I can start by just welcoming you to MongoDB. Put it up here. Now, the beauty of MongoDB, let's just create a new connection to localhost. Let's create a new database for localhost. Databases. We want to create a brand new database. Oh, where's my new database button? Oh, right here. And let's just call this, let's see, what can we do to make a useful comparison between the two? I guess we could do task list. There's a whole bunch of different possibilities that we could do. Let's do a task list for now. So you've got task list database. Let's create a users collection. We're just going to say that users are going to have tasks, right? Rid of that database because it's not kosher. It was back when I was being edgy, man. Don't hate me. All right. So we also have our tasks. Now, you can do basically relational data in MongoDB, just like you do in Postgres. It's just that it's not normalized quite the same way. Let's add a file here. Let's add a document. And inside of here, it's just JSON, right? So we can say we're inside of users. A user has a name. So let's just give a user a name. We're going to say it's Mark. And I'll just insert that. So I get a new object and I have a name of Mark. I'm going to add another one. This one, we're going to add another one. It's going to have a name. And we're going to add Chris. So we've got Mark and we've got Chris. Chris is a producer of the show. Talk about that in a little bit, but you'll see a QR code for a tip jar floating around while I'm teaching. Honestly, if there's no tips, I won't be able to pay my rent. That's how it works. This is free for everybody to join and to watch. And then I just sort of have to throw myself at your feet and hope for the best. So Chris gave us a tip on the morning session. And so he's here now as a producer. Now we're going to give him some tasks because, you know, you give me money and then I give you a bunch of work to do just that way. So let's say we have a task here. It's called, its title, and it's like, clean your room. Now, right now, we've got a task and we've got a user, but they're not tied together in any way. The way that we would do that inside of Mongo is really the exact same way that you would do it inside of Postgres or some other SQL database. You would have a ID that's going to point to the other thing. So this is a user link. So we don't name them user ID in Mongo. We'll just name it that. And it's not a string. It is an object ID. What this allows us to do is really cool stuff called aggregations. So what we're going to do here is we are going to use a lookup. Now, lookup is going to take these two things and then possibly join like any tasks that they might have. So what we can do is we can join from users, because that's where we're at. The local field is going to be underscore ID. The foreign field, sorry, the foreign field is not users. The foreign field is tasks. In the foreign field, it's just the user key. And we're going to call this as tasks. So Mark doesn't have any tasks in his aggregation, but if you look at Chris, Chris has a task. So this is the example of a has many relationship. The user for Chris's document has many tasks, or you could say that each of his tasks belong to a user. I think it's pretty nifty. These aggregations let you do everything that you could do in like modern SQL, only you can do a document-based database. Really, really, really cool. If anybody has any questions, I can answer any questions that you have about this. I'm not going to be able to get Postgres set up today. Unfortunately, it's always like that. Never change a version before you have a demo or before you have a meeting where you have to show something. Don't install new software while you're in the middle of a stream. Yeah, these are things that you just don't do, or you know you shouldn't do after a certain amount of time doing programming. So, Chris, Magic Eagle, say hi on Twitch if you're on Twitch so I can say hello to you by name. I want to talk real quick about the channel health. We're doing really good. In fact, I can't see that. Am I supposed to? Let me make this big. There, I can see it. I want to thank Thomas Lawrenson for his the way that this education works, right? It's not free. It doesn't cost you money. I'm happy to take you as deep as you'd like in 1,000 topics because I have the experience. I've worked in all of this stuff. I'd really like to give you everything that you think that you guys want to learn. And I don't want to charge anybody anything. But it's a pay-as-you-can system. So if you can help out the channel, if you'd like to become somebody like Thomas Lawrenson or Chris Loggins or Joshua Vaughn, Julie Lettle, Ryan Bent, you can shoot this tip jar QR code. It's on almost every scene. I think it's on every scene. It should be on every scene. So that if you want, you can give us monetarily support anytime you like. That literally goes straight to my wife's bank account because it's her and I and my 2 nephews. That's the whole team. So if you want to support a small business, a small family operation that's here giving you a free education, that's the way to do it. I'd like to thank the fine viewers over at YouTube. If you're at YouTube right now, thank you so much. We're up to 193 on YouTube after starting from 0. And we were up to 33 on Twitch, but we have 3 more now, so I'm going to have to update it again. And I'm happy to update that, which is going to put our channel health. Say we get a couple of tips in on this evening session. I don't know, not much, maybe like $20 in total. That bar will be full tomorrow. Now, again, tomorrow, we are back at it, right? So 9 a.m., Introduction to Modern Web Development. It's not the exact same thing that I taught this morning. It's going to be continuation of the same thing. Same thing with 10 a.m. Vanilla JavaScript for Beginners. We're going to continue the journey that we started earlier. Excuse me. At 11 a.m. we do writing clean code using Solid. This is a little bit more of an advanced course, but it's not so advanced that you can't watch it when you're a junior. Also, if you feel like any of this content is too simple for you, I still invite you to watch, because I promise you, the way that I think with functional programming, I have ways of showing you things that you've seen before in a new way. So try to join us and support us with your eyeballs if you can't support us with your currency. At 12 p.m., designing UX using Tailwind CSS, which is very important for all programmers, all web developers, to at least have some basic understanding of design. You also have to know CSS as a developer. So it used to be that the designers should just give you an image and say good luck. It's much more of the designers and the developers working together to create the right HTML this day, the right CSS, I should say. So it's definitely something that all web developers should learn. Of course, this is the databases at CRUD. SQL and MongoDB, we're going to do a little bit more Mongo. We're not done here yet. Even though I can't get Postgres installed right away, we'll have Postgres installed for tomorrow night. So I guess the choice was chosen for us by the universe. MongoDB is installed and Postgres needs a machine reboot, which means I can't do it during the stream. I'll have to do it after tonight's introduction to Web3 and crypto, which happens at 8 p.m. tonight. I'm super excited. I'm a crypto guy. I don't have tons of money in crypto. I got in late. I should have gotten in earlier, but I've been on the up and I've been on the down twice now. So I've seen 2 full cycles, and I'm here to tell you that Web3 and DeFi and crypto are here to stay. And the sooner that you get familiar with it, the better, because you're going to find that a lot of the jobs are going to be in crypto in the near future. And I want to prepare you for that. Also, this channel is not financial advice, but I will tell you what happened to me, how I made crypto, how I lost crypto. Yeah, all of that good stuff, you know? All of that good stuff. So, again, my name is Mark. Welcome to Webdev courses.tv. Sorry, I don't have Postgres working. Let's actually switch back to this and let's see what else we can do. We have these tasks. We have these users, we can connect the two. How would we track when a task is done? Because traditionally in a database, what you would probably have is something like this, where we would say there's a completed at field. And if it is completed and it has, you know, 2022 11/24, whatever it is, and that's a date. Right? Like this is how you would do it. But before it's actually completed, it would be something like this. But you can't do this in Mongo. You can't have an empty date. So how do you know if something is completed? Well, it's completed if it has a completed at. If it doesn't have a completed at, it's not completed. So let's do this. Let's add another document. And I'm actually going to copy this document and duplicate it. And then we can say that the title is not clean your room now. The title this time is going to be brush your teeth. Okay, so this one is one that is complete. And so it's going to have a completed at. This is also the secret to schemas. The fact that you can do more than one thing. So 20, 22, 11, 24. Let's insert that. Let's fix this to be a date because it's not a date. Fix that to be a date. Update it. So this one has a completed at, this one doesn't. Let's go back to our aggregation. The aggregation was actually in our users probably. Yep. So let's run our aggregation again. Actually open up another window so that we have our tasks so we don't keep overwriting our aggregation. Creating a pipeline. We're going to do a lookup. We're going to go back to that. We're going to get our tasks. So we're going to create a link essentially to our tasks. The local field is _ID. The foreign field is user. And as a result is tasks. Okay, but what if we wanted to also have like completed tasks, right? What if we wanted to have them separate? There's a couple of different ways that you could do this. I think the way that I would probably do it would be to take this pipeline out. And we'd probably have to unwind it. Maybe we can get away without an unwind first, because I'm not ready to explain unwind. It's kind of a pain. So we have this thing that comes back with an array. You know what we could do is we could do another lookup. This might actually be the best way to do it anyway. It's basically the same thing, but we have to add something else. These are all of the. Hello. Why is it not copying? These are all of the things again, and we only want some. So there's a pipeline, there's a let, there's a couple of other things that we can do. Best thing is to look up the documentation. So MongoDB lookup pipeline. Let's go down to the pipeline option. So a pipeline is actually exactly what we've got here. This is a pipeline. This is step one. This is step two. We can do the same thing directly inside. See if there's an example of a pipeline. I just keep saying pipeline to run. Come on, give us an example of an inside pipeline. I just want to copy and paste because I'm lazy. So you can see that the lookup, like here's the top level pipeline. And then we just got another repeat inside of here. So what that tells us is like you can nest these things, right? So we've got this pipeline. The pipeline is going to return an array, and then each of those is going to have some sub object. So what would the pipeline look like? Well, we could do a match, and the match is going to match on the completed. So how do we check to see if a field exists or not? MongoDB match field present. Cool, we've got this exists thing. Right? So what we could do is we could say completed at must have exists. You could also check to see if like it's after a certain date. Exists true. And they're doing that on the quantity. So we're trying to find the completed at where exists is true. Now, oh, also completed tasks. So now we've got our tasks array. You'll see that it's got all of the tasks, and the other one only has the task that's completed. And of course, I'm lazy, so I don't have any tasks. Nothing's completed, and I don't have anything else. Not 196 on YouTube. That's awesome. What do I have? 193. That's great. That's just awesome. Honestly, I'm only here for everybody who's watching right now. You're watching it right now. I'm spending my evening here because I want to we don't all have all the years on the planet that we would like. You start off and you're really excited about life, and you never think about being old. You never think about being sick. You never think about your body turning against you. And then you start to get old, and you start to look around yourself and go, holy crap, people are dropping dead left and right. Maybe I don't have as much time as I thought. And so I thought about it, and I thought, if I don't have much time, if my time is short, if my days are numbered, as they say, I really don't want to make more money writing code for companies that don't really care. I'll write code for Ryan. I'll write code for Julie. I'll write code for people that come to me and they say, Mark, I need your help. I'm in a lot of trouble. I need to get this code done. I need your mentorship. I need your experience. I'm totally cool with that. But writing code for companies, I don't want to be laying in my deathbed going, well, I wish I would have written one more thing for Intel. I just don't. But I would sit in my bed and think, all this knowledge that's in my head that's about to disappear into the void, and I couldn't have given it to more people. That's just a tragedy. So in order to avert a tragedy, that's what I'm doing. Monday through Friday from 9 to 12, and then again from 7 to 9. And I hope you'll not only continue to join me and spread the word, but join the conversation as well.